I wanted, Simon, just to introduce the core modules for the first year. What kind of things might you expect if you join the department? What are the things that everyone has to study in first year?
I'll try and answer that in a second. I'll just add something that hopefully joins up some of the previous answers, which is about another difference between perhaps your experience at school and the way things are going to work when you're a student with us, is that open door policy. That's a really major part of things. And in particular, you don't have to call us sir or whatever you called your teachers. I'm Simon, and I'd much rather students call me Simon. And if they've got a question, come and knock on my door or ping me an email, and I'll try and answer it when I can. I think that we try to treat students more like colleagues or apprentices or something much more like that than I'm a teacher, you're a student, you should be in your place. It doesn't work like that. We want you to come and ask questions and talk to us, and we're interested in talking about physics and maths because that's why we do this. Okay, right. So you probably culturally that's quite different, I think, from school. So I'll explain a bit about our core. There are compulsory modules, we call them core modules, that cover the essentials of physics and maths, and they're essential because they're a requirement of the Institute of Physics in order to gain an accredited degree. And we run an accredited degree, so we make sure we cover all those topics. Year one is pretty broad. We have 2 mathematics modules, one in semester 1, one in semester 2, and then we have 4 core physics modules, 2 in semester 1, 2 in semester 2. Now, why universities work on semesters and terms at the same time is baffling, but you just get used to this after a bit. They just split the year into 2 parts. So in your first semester in mathematics, you'll cover topics like basic differentiation and integration, vectors, series, and multiple integrals and probability theory. Now, some of those you will have seen before, I'm sure, and some of them are probably new, but that's okay. It's a bit of old and a bit of new in there. And then in physics, you'll be learning mechanics, which is the study of forces and orbits and fluid flow, and electricity and magnetism. So that would be your first introduction to the big topic of Maxwell's equations and classical field theory and all kinds of interesting things like that. So it also includes circuits, magnetic induction, and Gauss's law and all kinds of exciting stuff that I'd happily tell you about if we had more time, but I'm not going to. And then in the second semester in mathematics, we'll cover functions of more than one variable and their derivatives, which sounds really complicated, but is actually very simple. It's just a notation issue for most of us. And then we'll introduce you to matrices and differential equations and some of the things that really underpin mathematical physics. In the physics modules in semester 2, you'll cover waves, your first introduction to quantum physics and nuclear physics, and then optics and thermal physics will be introduced. Now, just about all of those topics will then come up again in year 2 in different cases. So thermal physics, for example, we cover thermodynamics of bulk matter, so how hot things are, how their pressures change and so on, in year 1. And then in year 2 we go on and expand on that, and break it down into how the behaviour of individual atoms and molecules in the system gives us things like pressure and temperature, and how are those things all connected to each other, the microscopic understanding of that. So year 1 to year 3, there's a progression through all of those. We cover a lot of the basics in year 1, a very broad base of physics. A lot of those topics will be in a typical A-level or IB syllabus, although you may not have covered all of them. That's okay. There'll be other people in the class who haven't covered things you have covered. And then each of them gets carried on into year 2 and year 3. So quantum physics is something most people are interested in when they begin a physics degree. We do a little bit in year 1, a bit more in year 2, and then there's an entire module on it in year 3. So that's the way a lot of these subjects progress.